What am I hearing? What are we hearing? That Nigeria has been delisted from the United States Federal Aviation Administration Category 1 status, International Aviation Safety Assessment Program, investigation by Daily Independence reveals. With this removal, no Nigerian airline included AirPeace, which plan to commence direct flight from Lagos to New York soon, can operate directly to any city or airport in the US until the country is re-audited and recertificated by the FAA and returned to its former status. Nigeria gained the US FAA CAT-1 status in August 2010 after a rigorous exercise that spanned about 5 years, but due to the combined factors of drop in standards and the failure of any Nigerian airline to operate directly to the US for 7 years, some stakeholders said the country lost the rating. The new US FAA law says that the failure of any country's airline to operate directly to the US for 2 years or vice versa would lead to the loss of the Category 1 status. It is not clear how long Nigeria had fallen off from the prime status, but a source close to the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development confided in Daily Independence over the weekend that it was before the 2023 general elections. This newspaper gathered that Hadi Sariki, the immediate past Minister of Aviation, had told the agencies, heads then, and some major stakeholders not to divulge the removal of the country from the status to the public in order not to affect the then impending general elections in 2023. It was a secret well kept by those who were aware of the country's removal by the US FAA until Daily Independent investigation exposed its delisting. Arik Air, the sole Nigeria on the Lagos-New York route, had on February 3, 2017 suspended operations to the USA a few days before its takeover by the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria (AMCON). However, two United States carriers, United Airlines and Delta Airlines, still operate direct flights to Nigeria from their bases. While Nigeria is out of the list, 7 other African countries still retain the US FAA Category 1 status. The countries are Cabo Verde, Egypt, Ethiopia, Kenya, Morocco, Rwanda, and South Africa. Further investigation by Daily Independent revealed that in the updated list of US FAA, there are 83 countries either in Category 1 or 2 of the list, but Nigeria is conspicuously missing on either of the 2 categories. Investigation revealed that at present there are 78 countries on US FAA Category 1 status, including the above-mentioned 7 African countries, while another 5 countries are on Category 2 status. Some of the countries in the Category 1 status include Argentina, Aruba, Azerbaijan, Bahamas, Belgium, Bermuda, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, France, Germany, Israel, Italy, and Ireland, and others are being listed there. The only 5 countries on Category 2 are Venezuela, Thailand, Russia, Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, and Bangladesh. However, an industry expert who didn't want his name in print explained that the removal of Nigeria from the US FAA Category 1 status was due to one of the new rules by FAA, which bars countries whose airlines had not flown into the US for 2 or 3 years. This is said led to the removal of Nigeria from the list. The industry expert equally retreated that it was not due to the failure of infrastructure, safety, and aero politics, but regretted the removal of the country from the status. He said, "The sad thing about Nigeria is that since we signed open skies agreement with the US, we were not operating to the country, and they gave us 5 years to establish ourselves before they start operating into Nigeria. But we couldn't even do that. Then Category 1 status and under Dr. Harold Demuren and Arik Air stopped operating into the US in 2017 under Category 1. Recall that Arik Air was used as one of the test airlines for Nigeria to achieve Category 1, and since Arik Air stopped, no Nigeria airline has operated to the US. The fact is that other countries upgraded their airlines or their rules while Nigeria stopped. The fact of the matter is Nigeria has not infringed on any rule, but with their new rule, you have to comply. He, however, said that for any Nigeria airline to commence direct flight into the US, the Nigeria Civil Aviation will be re-audited by the US FAA, including the technical staff strength, safety and security apparatus layouts. Group Captain John Ojikutu, retired, the Chief Executive Officer (CEO), Centurion Aviation Security Limited, confirmed that Nigeria lost the status about 2 years ago, but Ojikutu attributed the listing of the country to negligence on oversight and enforcement of the safety and security regulations and programs by the government. For instance, Ojikutu mentioned the recent safety and security audits of the civil aviation industry by the International Civil Aviation Organization, where Nigeria performed below industry standards and with numerous open items. He emphasized that the country's prime airport, Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, was lacking in security fence for over 20 years without any major improvement, while cases of incursions into the airport had climbed in recent times. All this, he pointed out, would result in the US FAA stopping Nigerian airlines from operating into the US. He added, the major problem in the Nigerian Civil Aviation Administration and management is the inconsistency of the appointment into the management positions and progression of the professional staff. We must prepare the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority again for another US FAA and Transportation Security Administration Category 1 audit within a year from now to be able to pave the way for any designated flag carrier to fly to the US. Otherwise, the plan of AIRPEACE to go to the US cannot materialize. As at now, the NCAA has no skills for any US FAA TSA Category 1 audits. There are also other silent reports made to ICAO by the foreign airlines, which are not complementary to the NCAA oversight and enforcement of the safety and security. In particular, Engineer Femi Adeniji, the Chief Executive Officer, NIGEM Aircraft Consultancy Incorporation, based in Florida, USA, explained that the delisting of Nigeria from Category 1 status would affect the plane of AIRPEACE with its international flights to the US. For Nigeria to return to the prime status, he advised the government to equip the NCAA with trained inspectors, experienced and complete reorganizations of the agency, including digitalizations of regulations, which he said would give easy access to operators. Besides, Captain Mohammed Badamasi, an aviation analyst, purported that the recent inconsistency in safety and security in the industry may be responsible for the loss of the Category 1 status. Badamasi queried the last time the NCAA carried out an internal audit of its activities that were supposed to prepare it for the mandatory external audit by any external bodies, wondering if the agency was able to close all the gaps noticed in the last safety and security audits of Nigeria by ICAO. Also, he explained that the Federal Airport Authority had failed in its responsibility of properly maintaining the infrastructure like buildings, runways, taxiway, lights and others, while security and safety at the airport's perimeter had also taken a flight. He added, in my own view, I see something wrong administratively. There are people who feel betrayed administratively, internal wrangling, leadership problems. A lot of hard work needs to be done with sincerity of purposes. Having listed the gray areas, Let them take a look at their visions and missions to determine if they are still available. And AISA Category 1 rating means a country has the laws and regulations necessary to oversee air carriers in accordance with minimum international standards, and that is Civil Aviation Authority, equivalent to the FAA for civil aviation matters, meets international standard for technical expertise, trained personnel, record keeping and inspection procedures. There are 8 criteria elements required to be fulfilled before a country can scale the FAA audits. There are legislation, regulations, organizations, technical staff, technical guidance tools, licensing, continuous surveillance, and resolution of safety concerns. Okay. The country, the more you look, the less you see. Everything as dabaru. And that's why Tinubu said he's going to continue from there. Because, like I said in the past, a lot of wrong things had been done by those who were leading, and nothing happens to them. So that's why he's just doing, he's even overdoing what is, doing his own as we speak now. So the issue is that the aviation in Nigeria, you begin to ask yourself, what are they doing? That's why they have different ministries. But at the end of the day, instead of everybody to do their own work very well, at the end of the day, there will be problem that will affect everybody. Because when you look at this whole thing, is just down to corruption. If I cannot get it, I will scatter it. So AIRPEACE that is even planning to go there, that's what we are hearing, that it might not even be easy for him as well, for the company as well. So this is where we are. So the reason why we were banned from flying, this is the cocoa of the matter. So guys, let's hear your opinion and have your take on this.